I remember I was like, yo, I might get knocked.
All right, I'm here with Luke Lessei, Muay Thai featherweight in one championship. Luke, I've been following you, I think, since 2018, 2019. I'm a huge fan, watching every post. Luke, if you just want to introduce yourself to the fans a little bit and then tell them a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Luke Lessei. Fight name go by the Chef. I'm a Muay Thai fighter in one championship right now, just a lifelong martial artist. So we're here to talk a little bit about that.
Sweet, yeah. And when did you start training, and what age did you actually have your first fight at?
So I started training when I was 4, with my father,
Wow.
and then that was actually just in karate, traditional karate. And then I had my first Muay Thai fight when I was 8. So, and now I'm 27. So, yeah, we're 20 years deep already, which is kind of wild to say when you're only 27. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And what is that first fight like at age 8?
Dude, honestly, I kind of remember it. Like, I got a, luckily I fought like this, like really short little chubby kid. Um, and he was from like one of my dad's friends' gyms. And it was good. I got my first win, but yeah, I don't remember too much about it. But it's hard to remember going back to 8 years old. Like I don't remember the feelings. I don't remember if I was nervous.
No.
I don't remember really anything because I'm kind of just doing what my dad is telling me to do. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of his
Yeah.
plan. So he's like he has his fight career got cut short, this and that. That's a whole nother story. He was a fighter. He has a son. He has this blueprint for him, this plan for him. Then he tells him he's going to go to the gym and fight. So it's like, I'm not even doing this because I want to. So I'm not even really nervous about it though. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's almost like I don't care because it's not necessarily for me. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's just a whole nother tangent I'm about to go on. I can't remember exactly how I felt, but yeah, first fight at age 8, and it was a win, so that's always a good way to start, bro.
Yeah, and a lot of people, if they start a little later, the nerves probably take over a bit more than they do for you at the same age. Like if you were fighting at 16 compared to someone else who's having their first fight at 16, I'm sure it feels a lot more comfortable now, right?
Right, that's a good point too. Like, yeah, you don't even know what's going on when you're a kid, and you can't even hit that hard anyway. You just kind of go in there and get after it. But yeah, when you're a little bit older, and then like you're worrying about impressing other people, there's definitely more nerves involved. You know what I mean? Put more pressure
Yeah,
on
and
yourself.
yeah, and growing up with your dad in that gym and having that whole plan set out for you, what kind of impact do you think that had on your training compared to someone else who doesn't have that base and that person who cares a lot about them right from the beginning?
Sure, sure. I mean, so let's try to put this into words because it wasn't like, of course, it ended up being a positive thing, like the extra attention, him being harder on me, him having higher standards for me. Of course, it ended up being a good thing, but the shit wasn't, it was kind of negative a lot because he's pushing me more. You know, I'm having to work out more. And
Hmm.
then when I'm a kid, there's points where I want to be treated like the other people in the gym, like not always having to do extra shit. Be like, yeah, the coach's son, the coach's son. But of course, like I said, it's a good thing now. But like that with my training, like we would butt heads all the time because like it's father son in the gym sometimes. Then at home you're like coach and athlete, then you're like mixing that up in between gym and home. It's like, when are you supposed to be dad and son? When
Hmm.
are you supposed to be coach and athlete? And you just get into arguments like that. But of course, it ends up being great. But and a lot of great fighters have the same shit, like Floyd Mayweather, Roy
Hmm.
Jones Jr. With their fathers. And it's difficult to have a relationship like that with your father. So I think just getting in stupid arguments all the time is the least, you know, worrisome thing for me and my dad. Now we're doing fucking awesome, dude. Just slaying shit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure at that age it was probably tough, and you were probably a lot more negative than now about it because now you're probably just super thankful about that.
Right. And I
But what
was
was it
like,
like if you're sorry?
well, I'm just thinking these are like middle school to high school years too. So I'm kind of a little cocky douchebag too because I'm just like a regular, you know what I mean? Like, so of course we're
Yeah.
gonna butt heads, father son in the gym, and he's gonna, yeah. But what were you about to say? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. And if you were in camp or it was getting closer to that fight and you were at that age where maybe you wanted to go hang out with some friends or go to a party or something, I'm not sure what your lifestyle was like back then, but
Yeah,
was your dad super hard on that when it came to like having
yes,
fun and being a normal kid?
yeah. I mean, pretty much sacrificing all that. Like Friday nights at the gym, Saturday mornings back at the gym. Like, and those are our main two like trainings. So that was like all through high school, missing, and not that I was a partier or anything like that, but
Hmm.
just like you said, just doing shit. And yeah, it paid off, but still, I wish I would have not been in the gym so fucking much.
Yeah, but it did pay off, and
Yeah,
it's going to keep paying off, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot out of
right.
you coming
So it's
soon
hard.
too.
Like, yeah, sometimes I think about like, oh yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, and then I'm like, well, look at me now. So it's all about balance, which is everything, anyways.
Yeah, have you trained at any other gyms in your career, or just your dad's gym this whole time?
Yeah, just him. I mean, of course, I've trained and cross-trained at a couple of different places in the Midwest, but yeah, just my dad.
Sweet. And what's your camp look like? Like, if you could just give us a brief run through, maybe like a couple days or maybe a week, like just this quick summary of what it looks like.
Yeah, so like every day during camp is three workouts. Um,
Well,
the lunchtime workout is just cardio and running. So like sometimes it's just like a 3 mile run, and then I'm like I focus a lot on my paces and shit like that. So that's every day. And at noon is my run, my 5K. Morning and night may change depending on the day, but it's always three. So Monday, in the morning is strength and conditioning. The coach is gonna do the coach I have comes to my gym also. His name's Creighton. So whatever he has me do is gonna vary um between every day. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy like Olympic lifts and shit like that. But
hmm.
yeah, just basic strength and conditioning every morning, Monday through Friday. Uh, 12 o'clock run Monday through Friday, fast 5K, and then at night is my Muay Thai session. So Monday night, hard pad session. Tuesday night, sparring. Wednesday night's actually a my midweek rest week. Thursday night, sparring. So Thursday night, Friday night are 2 3 hour sparring sessions.
Well,
So, and then Saturday morning. So then I have Wednesday and Sunday where I don't go to the gym at night. But yeah, dude, it's pretty
hmm.
basic. I mean, work out for a couple hours every day, get your run in, and it's like however people split that up depending on their schedule is pretty much fine. But yeah, I do my fucking pads at night, and I do my road work during the day in the morning. And this was all while I was working at FedEx too, working around that during doing the day job too. So now it might change because once I got signed to
Hmm.
one championship, I quit. So my schedule's a little bit different right now.
Yeah, I just recently interviewed Sean O'Malley's strength and conditioning coach, Brandon Harris, and we talked about how a lot of athletes don't incorporate that strength and conditioning work as much as they should. Do you think that's a big thing for you and should be for other athletes too?
Sure. I mean, I never was huge on it. I never had time for it, right? Because I have to work and support my family. So my
Yeah.
main thing was focusing on my craft, the Muay Thai. But now that I have fight for one, like I can, financially support myself a little bit better with the Muay Thai.
Hmm.
So I don't have to work for, 8 to 10 hours every day. So I have time for a strength and conditioning session. And I don't even know. Like, I guess it just depends on because like I did it and I didn't feel any extra confident in my fight. You know, I felt just as I
Hmm.
felt the same. Like I had my abs looked a little bit better, my arms looked a little bit better. For this last camp, I went pretty hard on strength and conditioning for the first time ever for my one fight, but I still freaking lost. Maybe I should have focused more on strategy and game plan in fighting. So I don't know. It probably depends on the person because some people if they don't feel like they're in shape, they don't feel like they're ready to fight at all. So strength and
For sure.
conditioning is super important. Some people need to feel like they have a strategy in place ready for when this opponent does this and that. So I don't know. I'm only 27, so I'm still in this process of figuring this shit out too, and trying to
Yeah,
find the best format for myself because I'm just a feeler. I just like to do shit, see what works for me. But the main thing is I like to focus on my Muay Thai craft, and you can see that with my style as well, and just how
100%.
I look. Like the focus is obviously not always strength and conditioning, but to each his own.
Yeah. And growing up in that gym and having your own style, you do coaching at your gym too, as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can look at that and then compare that to maybe something that you've seen, or like if you haven't been to certain gyms but seen a bunch of their training and how they do it online, is there anything that you would say that your gym does differently and that maybe other gyms shouldn't do as much, or like it just in the style that they're training?
I think because of where our gym is from, it's a little bit smaller town, right? There's more attention. You're able to get more
Mhm.
one-on-one attention, not necessarily private lessons and this and that, but just more one-on-one attention, little pointers here and there. Um, yeah, throughout classes, and then you build closer relationships with these people, and it builds a different culture as opposed to a bigger gym where you're coming to the classes because the gym is the biggest, coolest gym in your place. They have the most, credentials, the most instructors, the most availability, and the
Mhm.
most classes. And yeah, of course, you're having good training partners, this and that, but there's not that little family um, culture, that family unit where when you come there, you just feel like super comfortable. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's not like you have to have a small mom and pop shop type gym, but definitely other bigger gyms can build that culture a little more by the instructors and the people running the class just being more involved and more passionate besides the people they want to be passionate about. Like, dude, when I teach a class, I give the same type of energy to the brand new person I give to the top fighters, and it's like that's the type of shit that makes them want to stick around to tell other people to
Yeah.
come, and it's just good for
Hmm.
everything. Just building that culture like that. So if bigger gyms could have that, but of course I'm biased because I've been in the same small gym with my dad the whole time, so that's what I like. Small hometown, cozy vibes.
Yeah, and you see that in a lot of athletes now. Like a lot of very successful athletes have a very, very close one-on-one type of relationship with their coach, or whether it's their dad, or even Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welch. Like they're super close and have that really close relationship, and you can see that pay off.
Right, right. So there's that. But then, like, of course, me and my dad had that as well. But my dad has also had separate relationships with every single member in our gym.
Hmm.
Not just like he's not only worried about me and my career and what fights I've got going on. Like, I'm not sure. I'm sure Tim Welch has plenty to do more than O'Malley, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's like, Whitman, he only focuses on his specific fighters and nobody else, nothing else. He's not like he's teaching
Hmm.
classes and shit, which is fine. But there's definitely people out there that see that and it makes them feel some type of way. Like, I don't know, because nobody's better than anybody, really.
Yeah.
Everybody should get the same type of attention. That's my mindset because I've been training with beginners and doing the same beginner classes and working out with new people and not liked it. And I've still got to this point. And a lot of fighters these days, they start the sport and they think the only way to get to the highest level is to get that one-on-one attention, is to get that coach that only cares about your future. It's like, nah, you can literally just do the basic classes, do your shit at home, your road work, and it's if you are intense in your workouts, if you're focused on your goals, then you can literally get there without having a coach like uh you know what I mean, like a Tim Welch and O'Malley, like a
Yeah.
Whitman and Usman, a Whitman and Gaethje. You don't have to have that necessarily.
Yeah, and from coaching and doing those basic classes and teaching those even just the fundamentals over and over again, do you think that that's had a big impact on you as an athlete?
Yes, of course. One, mentally, is because I'm always training with the people who are training for their amateur fights. They're nervous as fuck. They're scared. They don't want to lose. They're fighting like this person is going to beat their ass. So I keep that same mindset going into my
Hmm.
professional fights. I'm always training like I'm fighting the best fighter ever, like I'm that scared little amateur again. And I think that's cool that I always keep that hunger, like that I'm going up the mountain. I never like got to the big gym. I'm the guy with the coach, all the coach's attention, and now I've got to the top of the mountain. So I like keeping that for my mental, working out with the everydays, with the casuals. Um, yeah, I just think that's cool. It just feels good, and then of course it makes them want to do better because they see the dude that's like really good at it working out with the everyday casuals. So it's good for everybody, and then also yeah, I mean just the repetition of the fundamentals, like because that's what our basic classes are, our basic pad work classes, which like I'll take Friday night, for example. I'll go there to the gym. I'll do an hour of pad work and one-on-one work with my dad for when we're training, for fights
Mhm.
coming up, game plan, anything, Muay Thai pad work. And then we have a 2-hour class for just anybody, just our regular everyday class, and then I'll do that as well. So that's 1 hour of my own time and then 2 hours of time with just everybody, and that's even more time uh
Yeah.
repetition with the fundamentals, and that's the mother of all teachers. So, and I think that's when it comes out, like things like my last fight where I needed just the basic shit because it was a dog fight, and when I was
Yeah.
tired and I couldn't think, it's those random everyday classes that I didn't want to go to because I feel like I should only be getting held for by my dad. I'm partnered up with the regulars, but that shit created muscle memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we know about those fundamentals, and you're fundamentally very sound, and you teach that. But when it comes to your fights, I think something that stands out for a lot of fans is your creativity and changing it up and mixing stuff in. Do you incorporate that in athletes as well, or do you see them having that same type of style from working with you?
Yeah, it's kind of fun how, like what we just talked about was it kind of leads into this because being there with everybody else, I wanted to be different because I did have that little bit of mindset where I was better and I was going to go farther. So I wanted to be
Hmm.
different. I wanted to create better moves, stronger moves. Not different Muay Thai moves, but just different ways of mixing the ingredients in, different, putting it together in different ways. You know what I mean? And just these little changes on the way I would punch just to make it look cool, like I would think looks cool. Little snap
Yeah.
here, little tweak here, um, little footwork here, shit that fakes and feints that I started to get obsessed with. And then I think people start to just naturally put that into their game, like like there's a couple examples on our amateur team, like just from them sparring with me, working with me, watching me do pads, and just kind of being there because I'm at the gym every day, like all the time,
Yeah.
so it's kind of just always there. Like
Yeah.
of course people are gonna rather try to look like me, like I'm the best guy in the gym. Like I'm not trying to say that like a cocky
Yeah.
asshole, but of course people are gonna try to replicate the whoever's the best around them.
For sure.
Um, and yeah, I see it in a couple of the guys that are coming up on our amateur team, just like little footwork, switches here and there, fakes and feints here and there, how they stand, move their body. And yeah, it's cool to see them naturally do it on their own and make it their own. But then, of course, I teach it too. I teach what I like to call them chef neeks. I teach the things that I do in my classes, and then because it's like a seminar. People get the same shit I'm teaching at a seminar every single day. If they're at our gym, I'll talk to
Yeah.
them, chop it up every single day, show them something real quick. So they're getting seminar shit just on the regular. So yeah, of course I'm trying to teach them and incorporate that because that's what I think is cool. And they're learning it on their own just from being exposed to me all the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's super hard for guys to prepare for and train for in their camp, especially if that they're at one of those bigger, more fundamental Muay Thai gyms. They don't have very many training partners that can replicate what you do.
Sure, and we can use it to our advantage when like I'm not fighting because a lot of people do think uh, whoever trains at our gym is gonna fight like Luke. Oh, they're probably gonna fight like
Hmm.
Luke. So at the amateur tournaments around here in the Midwest, it's good to use that to our advantage because like some people just can't fight exactly like me,
Yep.
So it's not good for all our opponents to think like our gym fights just like me because I happen to have like fairly unique way of
Yeah.
moving, I feel like.
For
So
sure. And I just recently saw a video of you, I think, teaching like a little gallop into teeps at
yeah.
the gym. And that's something I was thinking about was how do you come up with like new techniques if you are one of the main people at your gym and you have that style? Are you just sitting in the shower and something just pops into your head, or you're just finding it while you're
Straight
sparring?
up. No, it is like that. I think the people that come up with shit, it is at the most random times when I'm driving. Um,
Okay.
you'll see a video and then you make your own pathway and connection with that move of how you could incorporate it, put your own flavor on it, or yeah, you just come up with it while you're shadow boxing, then you rep it out a couple times. I think that's the main thing is like I remember times in my basement out in my driveway, training for fights, shadow boxing early in the morning, uh, and on my runs. And then I'll just be thinking of this shit. And then I'll rep it out like 20 times in a row, just right there, just to get the feel for it. Boom. It's into my style, just like that. And
Nice.
then the next step is to try it in sparring. And it may not work all the time, so you maybe just sprinkle it in sometimes. But you always get that one that you just kind of came up with. You tried it in shadow boxing, then you try it in sparring, and it fucking works, dude. Sometimes you get that one, and then I happen to do that like a handful of times, and I get so obsessed with that, with like I said, not creating a new punch or a new kick, a new setup, a new fake, a new feint, getting from this my left leg to my right hand in a new way. Um,
Hmm.
and I think I get so obsessed with that, and I don't know what it is, but in my shadow boxing, even on pad work, sometimes I'm trying shit like that, like a fake on my dad while he's holding pads. But in shadow boxing, I'll catch something quick and then I'll be like, oh, well, and I'll just like I'll think of something from it real quick, and then I'll just rep it out like a bunch of times. But that comes from like this is getting deep. That comes from literally nothing. That comes from complete emptiness. Those new moves.
Hmm.
So it's like, what is this shit really coming from? You know,
Yeah.
when you create a quote unquote new move, or when I come up with a new setup that I haven't really seen anybody else do before, like where the fuck did that come from? So then I'm just repping it out in shadow boxing, try it on the pads, try it in sparring, and then boom. And it's really as simple as that. You think of some shit in the shower, and then you just try it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense, and I think that's what makes a lot of fans, including me, like you and your style so much. I don't know the last time I've been as excited about a fighter since like your one championship debut. So
Damn, thank
I
you,
think
man.
see, yeah, no problem. But I was wondering, how did that feel for you? Because obviously the fans were all excited. How did it feel for you leading up to that fight, going in there, and just what was your mindset like?
Okay, so not to sound like an asshole, but I always knew this time was coming. Like I've been working so long. It's like of course, there's the thought that I may never get signed by a big promotion, and that's in the back of my head. But I always knew I was like good enough to make it to the one championship. I just never knew how frickin' long it would take. So it
Hmm.
wasn't like it was a huge. Of course, it was a huge surprise, but it wasn't like something I never thought of. Of course, I've envisioned it, I've visualized fighting certain people and laying in bed thinking about this shit all the time for years, bro. So then when I got that message at 3 a.m., then yeah, of course I was like, oh my God, holy shit,
Yeah,
dude. Like I'm getting like the CEO himself, boom. I was like, babe, I'm getting signed. Like, oh my
yeah,
gosh. Like, and then it's like everything changes, quitting my job and everything. So it's not necessarily like, it's hard to say. Yeah, it was a huge surprise. But then again, it wasn't a huge surprise because I knew I had to get right to work and keep fucking going because the guy who I got matched up against was like fucking no joke
yeah,
for having your first fight,
yeah,
dude. And
yeah.
so I was instantly nervous, you know. But yeah, there was a while there where I was just so excited, so happy, finally made it, dude. All the hard, I was thinking this every day because I was still at work for about a week and just sitting there like, dude, I can't believe I made it to one championship from this small ass gym in this
Yeah.
small ass town. I never knew if I would make it or not. You know what I mean? And I knew I was good enough. I knew like people knew of me on Instagram, but yeah, getting that message was fucking crazy because it just changed my whole life. Like quitting your day job and not working and finally doing what you want to do is literally crazy. Like people from my town don't do that. Everybody here's working. Like we're in the Midwest. There's factories everywhere. There's farms everywhere. Everybody's working, bro.
Mhm.
And then I get to just be a fighter, be at
Yeah.
home with my kids, and then fight. Like what the shit, dude? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to take us through the fight, and I know there's not much thinking going on during that fight, but if you can have any memories or recollection of like what you were
Oh,
feeling, what you were
I
thinking.
remember the first round. Okay, yeah, my bad. Let me start earlier. Like we were there in the back. Like, of course, I'm preparing for Joe Nattawut this whole time. I'm going hard on the pads. I'm not fucking scared of Joe, but I'm nervous because it's like my first time on one championship. I knew a lot of people were
Yeah.
gonna be watching me, and everything's going good. I'm like, I get there, 15, 20 hour flight. Getting some good training in. Cut weight, weight cut went good, and then I'm in the warm up area in the back, and I remember like my warm up wasn't even that long, and I was just sitting there for a little bit, like, yo, this is fucking sick. I remember just sitting there with
That's
my
awesome.
gloves on. They taped my gloves up and all that, and I was sitting there like didn't even feel like warming up. They had the TV and the like. It was just cool. It felt so official, so like ESPN Sports Center vibes. Like everything backstage was sick, dude. So I was sitting there like, yo, I can't believe I'm here. Like I don't even like. It was the first time I ever didn't care about a win like more than anything. Like you know what I mean? It was the first
Yep.
time. Like of course I wanted to win. Of course that's the only goal in mind is to beat the fuck out of this guy.
Yeah.
But for the first time, it wasn't as strong of a feeling. I was just sitting there enjoying the moment.
Mhm.
And then we get out there, and shitty thing, they had this giant fan on me as I was standing there about to walk out. So that sucked. But
I bet. Yeah.
yeah, I walked out, my song's playing, boys are with me. And then I remember just looking at the crowd and like still I was like, holy shit, I can't believe like I remember thinking, holy shit, I can't believe I'm here for a while. And I think that's
Yeah.
cool that I remember having that feeling. I think
For
I
sure.
think like it wasn't super rushed. I got to feel like, wow, this is wild. I got to feel that, like, which I think if you make it to wherever, you should sit there and enjoy the fruits of your labor by simply just making it there. And now that I enjoyed all
Hmm.
that, it's time to really beat the fuck out of everybody and really go for this shit and like not care about that shit anymore. And it's only business and it's only work. But back to the fight. Enjoying my first time walking out Lumpini Stadium, the Madison Square Garden of Muay Thai, like Lumpini. And
Yep.
then obviously the crowd's not cheering for me at all. Um,
Yeah.
they're all quiet. They're all silent when I walk out. I'm just still looking up like this is sick. And then I remember getting in there and it was bright as oh my god, it was so bright. I remember having to squint because everything was white and it was so bright. But then he came out, crowd went freaking wild for him. Um, Obviously though, this is all expected. I knew that if I didn't
Yeah.
knock him out, I wasn't gonna win this fight. I knew that he was the crowd favorite. I knew that he was, the favorite in all aspects. And then I remember the first round, boom, bell rings. First round, um, I remember I was like, yo, I might get knocked the fuck. But I mean, it's not I might, but like I remember I could. I was like out there
Yeah.
and I
There's a
was like,
chance.
holy I was like, yo, this is the hardest puncher I've ever faced. Boom, instantly. Like he won that award of hardest puncher I've ever faced in the first 30 seconds. And it's
Wow.
probably the small gloves probably are a factor as well. Because that was my
Yeah.
first fight in the small gloves. But I remember thinking like, holy shit. And it was like I just laughed. It was kind of funny like that. I was kind of like in my head, if there was a little face, he would be laughing like, "Yo, this is crazy. You might get knocked out."
Yeah.
Um, but whatever. I think I did pretty good the first round. I put him on his ass a couple times,
Yep.
and then second round, it's like whatever. We're just in the fight now. So like, then we're at your point of like not thinking. I'm just
Yep.
in the fight now. That's probably the only thought I had was like right in the beginning. I was like, "Whoa." And then It just made, that's why you saw me covering up so much, because I was like, ah, man. And I wish I wouldn't have thought that, because I wish I was able to let loose and move my head a little bit
Hmm.
more instead of being like so, because I didn't want to get knocked out. You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
course, that's my main thing. Is like, just don't get knocked out.
Yeah.
But then
Cool.
we get to the second round, and I remember he broke my nose. Oh shit!
We're good.
Oh, shit. He broke my nose in the second round, middle of the second round, and I remember like taking a breath in and just feeling like I'm drowning. I was like, oh man. Still, I thought I was doing fine. I remember I won all the kicking exchanges. I was blocking his kicks in the first round. You know, I swept him once in the first round. Once I took a few of his punches, I was like you saw me, dude. He wasn't putting me down unless he had a fucking gun, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
once I got past that, I was like, oh shit. And that was also a big deal for me because, side note, I've never been in a street fight before, so I didn't
Hmm.
necessarily know if I was like tough like that, or if
Hmm.
I could really fight like that, or if I was just good at this sport called Muay Thai, if I was
Yeah.
just good at the moves, if I was just, you know, an athlete like that. But then this fight showed me like, nah, dude, you got that dog in you, and you really
Yeah.
do have that dog in you, because I never had fights like that before where I got tested like that. Like, and I literally remember the punch hitting my nose, bringing it back, breaking my nose, blood filling my nose up, looking down at my feet, my toes. I was like, I literally remember looking at my toes. My toes were covered in blood. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then still just going at him the second round, still just flinging those fucking elbows, dude, just going
Yeah.
for it, because I just wanted that win so bad. I wanted that win. I wanted that bonus to bring home money to my wife and kids, you
Yeah.
know. And then the third round, I remember my corner and my boy, he was like, 20 fucking years, 20 fucking years as I was walking down. So I just gave it my all the last round. But dude, he's number 4 in the world. He's tough as
Yeah.
shit. And almost had him though. Almost had him at the end. If I wasn't so like, I don't know, I hit him, and then if I would have paused and read for a minute instead of just bomb rushing, going for that knockout, I would have had him. But I was real close, dude.
Yeah, I think we as fans saw a little bit less of your creativity. I think until like the last round was when you started letting go a little bit. I'm sure
Yeah.
leading up to that fight, there was the thoughts in the head like, come on, like why did, out of everyone I could have had for my debut, like why Joe, like
Oh
why?
yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times they're matching people up, like, because you see my presence on Instagram and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I know I'm marketable, and I know
yeah.
that they want to build off me a little bit, and they want me to be an American star. This is what I'm hoping. This is what I think they want. So I'm thinking they're gonna like give me somebody that
That you can
they can
style
get
on.
some. Yeah, like not necessarily somebody easy, but somebody that like isn't like, because Joe just tried to box my fucking head off, dude,
Hmm.
and he literally just, that was my gang initiation, I guess. Maybe they just wanted to see if I was really about that. And now I'm gonna get
Maybe.
somebody that I can do some chef moves on, because dude, that is the number one thing that drives me crazy after a fight, win or lose, is if did I land the moves that I'm teaching people? Did I land the moves that
Hmm.
I'm posting online and this and that? Did I land the moves that, you know, I'm known for, being creative, this and that? And
Yeah,
yeah, I landed none of that shit this fight. Maybe like a few here and there. But yeah, he was testing my gangster. And it's cool to have that fight under my belt. And now people can remember that. And it was good because that night, every fight was knockouts. So
yeah,
people got to see the most of my fight. Every
for
other
sure,
fight
for
was like
sure.
one round, first round
Yeah.
knockouts. So it's just good in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it from maybe their point of view or from Muay Thai, like solid, just Muay Thai fans, a lot of them aren't fans of like American fighters as much as they are the strictly Muay Thai guys. And I'm wondering maybe, like you said, that gang initiation thing where they wanted even one championship, they probably said, okay, if we put him against someone maybe that he could have those moves on, people aren't going to respect him as much as they'll
Uh,
respect someone like Joe. So for
uh,
now, the fans to have seen you go out there against a strict, like number 4 in the world, like you said, and do that, now you have more of that chance to open up against whoever you want, and
Right.
they won't be like, oh, this guy's not like these other Thai guys.
Yeah, I mean, fighting an opponent like that is definitely more street cred to the
Hmm.
one fans because they haven't seen me before. So you don't want people to think you're coming in and they're just building you up and putting you with bombs because I've definitely had that in the amateur scene before. When I got to the end of my amateur career, there's not many people around here that had 50 fights as an amateur. So of course I'm fighting people that aren't on my level. So people are like, "Oh, you're fighting bums all the time." But now people can't say that at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And it's like, of course, just going back to that, like, of course, if I'm beating like, I'm supposed to you're supposed to make the opponent look like he sucks. Like, you're supposed to
Hmm.
make him look like a bum. So that's the whole point. But yeah, it was always something that drove me nuts around here because, like, I'm just in the Midwest here. It sucks for the location I'm in. Whatever. But I'm just fighting the people that are put in front of me. And then now I fought this dude that's like, as legit as they come, so nobody can talk shit about my toughness or anything like that anymore. And even more than that, I don't have to question my toughness as much as I have in the past. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure.
For
I got
myself, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to that, I got 2 more questions. When it comes to that, if you were during and leading up to the fight, you were probably thinking that, like we said, that why would it be this guy? But now that you've had that fight and now that you did that, do you think that's going to boost your confidence a lot more than it would have if you had to fight 2 or 3 guys who in the camp you were considering an easier matchup?
Well, actually, let me go back to that because I actually did. Like, remember when I said I knew I was gonna like get signed? I knew that the day was coming where I might get a chance to fight on the
Yep.
biggest stage. I like it almost felt like this is the way. Like, of course, I fight a hard ass motherfucker my first time in. I almost feel like it's his destiny. Like,
Yeah.
because in all my other world tournaments, I'll get like over at the IFMA tournaments that are over in Thailand for Muay Thai. I'll get like growing up. I'll get like the Thai fighter with 200 fights first round. First round of the fight, I get like the year before. I got like the 5-time reigning champion first round. It's like there's those guys that always get that tough road,
Yeah.
and so it almost felt right and felt like it was supposed to be like that in a way. And could you imagine if I would have finished him? But yeah, it definitely raises my stock either way.
For sure. And I mean, just one for the MMA fans who are watching. We've heard Jonathan Haggerty talk once in a while or have little mentions of maybe switching to MMA at some point. Is that something you've ever thought of?
Yeah, definitely thought of that because my dad is, a complete all-around martial artist. So he trains jujitsu, judo. Um, yeah, and then I'm in Iowa, so the wrestling around here is pretty fucking good.
Hmm.
And yeah, so all the tools are there, and I grew up doing a little bit of jujitsu and judo. But yeah, right now the focus is on getting the Muay Thai belt, maybe getting the kickboxing belt, fighting those guys, because everyone in my division right now are like the legends, bro. Like Superman, Taiwan Chai, Joe. Then you got the kickboxing champ, Alazov, kickboxing champ, and then and I wanna become the next icon, the next legend, and beat those guys. And then, yeah, dude, of course, if I become double champ, we're going to MMA and just trying to become a legitimate, legend because I feel like I do have
Yeah.
that style that is going to be remembered. So I feel like I'm on the path to greatness, and like, yeah, I know I'm only at the beginning, but I'm going to speak it to existence. Who's to say nobody wins the MMA belt until I go for all three. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's to say that's not
100%.
how it goes? Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, thank you, Luke. I mean, this meant a lot to me personally and to all your fans as well. This fight was awesome to watch, and we're super excited to see the rest of your career.
Dude, I appreciate you. You've always been super cool to me. I appreciate you watching the fight, and this has been a super fun chat too, man.
Sweet. Everyone, make sure to follow Luke the Chef on Instagram. His link's going to be in the description below. And we'll be posting a lot about this as well. Make sure to like and subscribe for more interviews. And thanks again, Luke.